Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's really great to have you here hanging out with me. In this video, I'm going to give you the goods on the most common mistakes made by each sign of the zodiac when it comes to romantic relationships. And don't worry, I will be giving solutions for the problems that are caused by these mistakes, because if you watch my channel, you know that if I'm going to identify a problem, then I am for sure going to give you at least some options for a solution. You can check your sun, moon, and Venus on this one, so no more wasting time. Here are the most common mistakes made by each sign of the zodiac when it comes to romantic relationships. Let's go. Okay, so you know at times I like to break things down into categories, of which I will have 5 for this topic. The first category is what I like to call the "don't worry, I got it" category. And in this category are the signs that start off a relationship doing everything for the person that they're with, and then later in that same relationship, they find themselves complaining that I do everything in this relationship and they do nothing. Okay, so the 2 signs that most commonly make this mistake are Aries and Capricorn. Both of these signs are initiators and action-oriented doers. So it is natural for them, especially when they're in love, to take initiative. When it comes to planning things, setting times and dates, picking the place that you're gonna go during the dating process, and just leading the situation. They are 2 very strong cardinal energies. However, later on down the line, they start to resent the fact that they're doing so much, and they start to feel that they do everything in the relationship. So Aries and Capricorn, here is a solution for that problem. It is a beautiful thing to share your time and your energy, and for you to be willing to do anything for the person that you love. However, you must love yourself enough to know that in order to create and maintain a balanced relationship based on give and take, you have to set the standard from the beginning of the relationship that someone must earn your efforts and energy. Now, this doesn't mean that you keep a scoreboard and hold back on doing anything nice for someone until they do something nice for you, but it does mean that bringing awareness to the idea of balance is necessary for a healthy relationship, and setting that tone from the beginning is important. If you teach someone from the start that you have it all handled, then you can't really be surprised when they fall into line with that sort of behavior. So it's all about creating balance. It's great to show someone that you love them, but it's also very important from the start to make sure that they're putting forth as much effort as you are when it comes to the relationship. Now, if you're already in a relationship and you feel like it's too far gone because you've already set the tone of you doing everything and them doing nothing, you can transition that relationship to a healthy place by first deleting the resentment of the past from your emotional being. You have to let it go, because otherwise you're walking around with this anger and taking it out on the person, and that's only going to infect the relationship with negative energy. So you have to hit the reset button. You have to take responsibility for setting the tone of doing everything and then them falling in line with it. So you have to take responsibility for that, hit the reset button, and start fresh, and make sure you start to express the things that you need with effective communication. And by effective, I mean not coming down on the person and saying, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? It's telling the person, you know what, it would make me feel really good if you would try this, or it would make me feel really good if you did that. Having the conversation and making sure the person feels like they have an option and a say-so, and whether or not they're gonna execute that action. The thing is, unconditional giving is a reflection of true love, but anything that is out of balance destructs. So make sure in your relationships, from as early in the relationship as you possibly can, that you are both committed to the same standard of sharing your love and effort. Okay, category 2. This is the one I like to call can't let go. And in this category are the signs that often stay in a relationship that isn't working for far too long. And these signs are Virgo and Libra. Now, they do so for different reasons. Virgo is the type of personality that always wants to do their best at anything that they give their energy and focus to. And the truth is, they don't like the idea of failing or losing in any way. And for them, a failed relationship can feel like a bit of a failure. So they try to stick it out even when it doesn't seem to be getting better at all. And Libras dislike conflict and arguing so much that many times in the relationship, they avoid the difficult task of breaking up because they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, or because they're open-minded and they'll entertain the idea of, blaming themselves. And because of that, they'll stick around thinking that if they improve, the relationship will also improve, which is a possibility, but nothing will improve without having the courage to communicate, even when the conversation that needs to be had is very, very difficult. So here is the solution, Virgo and Libra, for staying in a relationship that isn't really working for far too long. strong. Virgo, yes, you have that never give up attitude. And Libra, yes, you dislike confrontation. But when you're not getting your needs met in a relationship, that isn't the time to keep pushing or to avoid conflict. You must love yourself enough to communicate what it is that you need in order to feel loved and appreciated in that relationship. If the person that you're with is consistently demonstrating that they're unwilling to show up for you and the relationship, then why would you waste another second of your precious time? I'm all about love, and I believe that love truly can conquer all. But a relationship is two people, and both people have to do more than just say, I love you. Their actions have to match, and love is all about both people in the relationship being able to communicate their needs and have the other person love them enough to want to put forth the effort to come to a mutual agreement of how to make sure both people are getting those needs met. So Virgo and Libra, remind yourself that time is precious and that your heart is precious, and you deserve to be in a relationship where you truly feel loved and that you enjoy being in. So no more staying on a sinking ship. Have the necessary conversations to see if you two can get on the same page, and if you can't, well, it's time to write another story of love. One where you are with someone who does make your needs a priority and you make their needs a priority. Okay. Third category is what I like to call the honeymoon phase illusion. And in this category are the signs that get wrapped up in how good the physical connection, the passion, and the fun are in the beginning of a relationship. Then they immediately and fully dive into the relationship without truly getting to know the person that they're with first. And once the honeymoon phase is over and things get real, they get mad because they're thinking, wait, why didn't you tell me from the get-go that you were a lunatic, or that you were messy, or that you were broken and dead, or that you don't know how to process your feelings? And the signs that get wrapped up in the honeymoon phase illusion are Gemini, Leo, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. Okay, Gemini, Leo, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, just because the sex is amazing and this person makes you laugh and you're really, really physically attracted to them, doesn't mean that you know what a relationship with them is going to be like. It just means that you know what sex and having fun with them is going to be like. And a relationship is so much more than just having a strong physical connection and having fun. Those are two big bonuses, but there are more pieces to that puzzle. So here's a solution for any of you that have been guilty of the honeymoon phase illusion. So obviously there's no problem in using your freedom to experience all of the things that you decide you want to experience. However, don't allow the intensity of a good, strong physical connection to overshadow how important it is to truly get to know someone on a deep emotional and intellectual level, which takes time. You can only do those things when you experience different circumstances with them, like seeing them around different people and seeing them in different scenarios. This way you can truly get a gauge on who they are as a person once you have seen them frustrated or angry or inspired and in pursuit of their goals. So be open, but also be honest with yourself and know that it is in your best interest to get the full picture of who someone is before you decide the depth of the relationship that you're willing to be in. Okay, category 4. I call this Life is a Romantic Comedy. And in this category are the signs that expect the person that they're with to know exactly what they need just because they love you. Then, if that person gets it wrong for some reason, or if they just altogether don't know what you need, you get angry thinking, well, if you loved me, you would know better. And if you loved me, you would do this for me with no problem. And the signs in this category are Taurus and Cancer. The thing is, Cancer is extremely intuitive and spends much of their time when they're in a relationship focused on what the person that they're with is thinking or feeling. It's a natural thing for Cancer to be this way. And with Taurus, when they love someone, they naturally think of how they can make that person comfortable, happy, feel cared for. And these are all beautiful things, but you have to realize that everyone is wired differently. And someone for sure can love you with all of their heart. And that doesn't mean that they're going to instinctually know exactly what you need in order to be happy or feel loved. So here's the solution for any of you out there who have suffered from the Life is a Romantic Comedy syndrome. Everyone is wired differently, like I said, and yes, if someone loves you, they will do whatever it takes to express that love so you feel it and believe it. However, Their way of expressing their feelings may not match the exact definition you have in mind. Their choice and expression may not be exactly the actions that it takes for you to feel loved. So in order to give them the opportunity to learn how it is that you define love, you have to tell them. You must communicate. And them not instinctually knowing doesn't mean that they love you any less. The proof of love comes from the desire to make you feel loved and the willingness to do what it takes to make you feel that way. But already knowing, that is very hard for someone who is not a mind reader. So before you get upset and decide that they don't love you, take the time to tell them what it is that you need. Then, based on their response, you will get an accurate depiction of their true feelings and the depth of love that they're capable of. So keep loving strong and intensely, Taurus and Cancer. Just make sure that you take the time to communicate your needs to the person that you're with so they can make you feel as loved as you deserve to feel. Okay, now the fifth and final category is a bit of a combination of categories 1 and 2, and I call this the salty saviors category. And in this category are the signs that give much more than they receive in a relationship because they find themselves attracted to someone that they can help become the best version of themselves. And then along the way, they don't address the fact that they've done so much for the person that they're with without receiving much in return, which ends up down the road becoming a serious uphill battle of resentment. And these signs are Aquarius and Pisces. Yes, these two signs have a tendency to give of their time, sometimes their money, their ideas, and their efforts with the intention of helping the person that they're with in many different ways. And much of the time they do so willingly and not even with the person that they're with asking them to do so. They just do it. Then later down the line, when they start to feel resentment that comes from a relationship that is out of balance, they start to complain and it becomes an issue. So for any salty saviors out there, here is the solution. And like I said, it's similar to number 1. You must love yourself enough to make sure from the beginning of the relationship that you set the tone of balance. It is a beautiful thing to help someone, especially someone that you have a great connection with or that you love, but you must make sure, like with all things that you want to flourish, that the relationship starts and remains balanced. You have to make sure that your needs are being met at the same time that you're putting forth the effort to meet the needs of the person that you're with. You have to take responsibility for knowing it is your job to communicate what it is you are unhappy about and what you require in order to be happy. Don't assume that just because you naturally put forth a certain type of effort and it looks a specific way, that when someone else puts forth the same effort, that it will look the same way. Everyone has a different way of expressing their feelings. This is why, to make sure, Aquarius and Pisces, that you don't end up somewhere down the road talking about not being appreciated and all the things that you did for this person and you were taken for granted. To make sure that that does not happen to you, take the responsibility to communicate what it is you need in the relationship so you give the person that you're with a true opportunity to do for you what you would love. Explaining to them the actions that would express love in a way that translates for you. This way, no one has to play the guessing game or the mind reader game, and no one is being tested or judged for not knowing better. We can take all of that off the table and get directly to, this is what I would like. Are you willing to do those things? And are you capable of doing those things? If both parties come from that perspective of communication with no judgment, just with the intention to get to know each other so you can make sure both people feel loved, then you don't have to find yourself down the line feeling like you've been taken advantage of. Instead, you will feel appreciated and excited that you found the perfect person for you. Okay, so there you have it. The most common mistakes made by each of the zodiac signs when it comes to love and the solutions to those issues brought on by the mistakes. I really hope you found this information useful. If you did, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so, and make sure to head down to the comment section and let me know what you think the biggest mistake that you find yourself making in relationships. Thanks again for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video.